Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and before I jump into the review today, I just wanted to check in and see how y'all are doing. We're about to close out February of 2022. How is time moving so fast? And I just hope you guys are doing excellent. I'm hanging in there, but I just hope you guys are doing really well. The day I'm filming this is actually the day of the Daytona 500, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a big NASCAR fan, so do you guys have a weird thing, or not a weird thing, but a thing that you're interested in, probably outside of movies? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to read about it. And I know probably some of you are thinking right now, Ryan's doing the thing where he's not talking about the movie he's going to be talking about because it's bad. And you are 100% correct. Because Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 style is a dead ringer for the worst movie of the year. We still have a full 9 months left of 2022, so a lot can change. But oh boy, this is going to be hard to top, or bottom in this case, because wow, I was not prepared for how bad this movie was. This movie was directed by David Blue Garcia, and it is a sort of remake, sort of prequel, sort of sequel to the legendary Texas Chainsaw Massacre released in 1974. Leatherface is back, this time, or in this timeline, I suppose it's weird, but I guess in this timeline, after the events of the original movie, he never really left Texas, and basically lived out a lot of time in this old decrepit orphanage in this small town of Texas that is really gone by the wayside. It's on its ass, as they say. Enter in a group of teenagers, one of them played by Elsie Fisher, who purchased the town to try and create a utopia of sorts, to create a town away from the big city. And let's just say they are of an enlightened persuasion. And while they're inspecting the town that they bought, they stumble upon Leatherface, and, well, you can pretty much put two and two together from there. I have no clue what I wanted from Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 2022. The original is a classic. I have yet to see the sequels. I hear the remake from 2003, starring the late R. Lee Ermey, is actually good, but I have not seen it. I do plan on reviewing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 for Scary Mania coming up this year, so I have only seen the original. And yeah, I guess I should have stayed that way. There is a lot of crap being levied towards this movie, and it is 100% justified. This movie is not even 90 minutes long. It's actually, according to IMDb, it is 1 hour and 21 minutes long. It's an hour and 22 minutes too long, in my opinion. To be fair, there are legit two things that I actually liked in this movie. Elsie Fisher and some of the kills. Elsie Fisher was the thing that I was rooting for the most. Not only because the actress Elsie Fisher is genuinely great, watch 8th Grade if you want proof of that, but her character was the most developed. She's developed in ways that I'm not entirely sure that I think is the worst that I've seen, but it's definitely close to there, or at least among the most tasteless that I've seen in a while, but I will cross that bridge when I get there. But whenever I saw her on screen, she was automatically, she brought things up. The rest of the people in this movie, minus one other side character, are just horrible. That one other person, his name is Richer. One of the first scenes that we see of him is when he arrives at this gas station. Our main characters are there getting gas, and he's getting gas, and the first image we see of him is that he has a 9mm strapped to his belt. And one of these characters, who, spoiler alert, don't watch this movie, but spoiler alert, is one of our final girls. One of her first lines says, "Wonder what he's compensating for." Oh joy, an anti-gun nut. In the words of The Weeknd, save your tears for another day. To the movie's credit, though, begrudging credit, but credit nonetheless, Richard does get one over on this person when he goes back to the town, and they arrive there, and they're inspecting how shabby it all looks, and the girl is like saying, "Oh my god, this is not what I saw in the pictures," and all that, and Richard's like, "You guys a cult or something?" And one of them is like, no, we're not a cult. We're idealistic individuals wanting to make the world a better place. And Richard says, so a cult then. Richard was on my wavelength in all of the scenes that he was in. And the other thing that I was like, okay, that was actually kinda good, was some of the kills. One of my favorites is one of the first Leatherface does. He grabs the arm of this cop, and he snaps it off at the elbow, and then, stabs him in the neck with the bone end of his elbow. It was gross, and it was honestly quite well done. It looks like some of these were done on the set with, actual, practical effects, which, if that is the case, I give them begrudging credit for trying. I know I'm trying to sound like I'm praising this movie. I'm honestly not. I guess I'm just grasping at straws because I'm a positive person. Other than Elsie Fisher, this Richard character, and some of the effects and some of the stunts, the rest of this movie is hot garbage. Like I said, most of these teens are of an enlightened persuasion, and so they say all the buzzwords. One of the characters' first lines of dialogue is they see this town and is like, late stage capitalism at its finest. It's like, Leatherface can't get here quick enough. Now, I'm not saying that to sound like I'm like some empty-minded horror fan who is like, I just want to see the kills. I tried to connect with this movie, but unfortunately, this movie takes the Forever Purge route. It chooses to go all virtue signaling, and it is painful to sit through. And instead of choosing one thing to focus on, it chooses multiple different things. The late-stage capitalism thing, like I mentioned, the whole gun thing that came out of nowhere, and one thing involving Elsie Fisher, which I will touch on in just one second, but probably the most painful one was the commentary about social media. The whole, you're gonna be canceled, bro, thing went viral, and I guess it should have been my first warning not to watch this movie. But then the scene plays out, and it's Leatherface just going to town on all of these investors, and they're streaming it on the Legally Distinct Instagram Live. And the chat is just, oh, this looks fake, oh, this looks really fake. It's like, is this supposed to be some kind of a commentary to where, they think they're clickbaiting their audience? I don't know how to feel about this. And when I said that was the most painful, I should have said that was one of the most painful, because the most painful is a bit of a spoiler, so spoiler warning, do not watch this movie. Elsie Fisher's character is the survivor of a school shooting. She even has a bullet wound right around here, and it is often referenced in the movie. It's referenced 2 or 3 times, and there's a scene where Richard is in his workshop and he has a legally distinct AR-15, or I believe it's an FML, I would have to research that. And she sees it, and she has this episode where she goes and has PTSD over it. And it's so tone deaf, because I'm not one of those types to get all perma-offended over everything, but when I guess I'm not personally offended over that, but I was offended for the person who may have survived something as dark as that, and stumbled upon it, and just may have felt a certain kind of way. I felt sorry for them. At best, this plot point was kind of left without context and only referenced 2 or 3 times, and I think if the movie was longer, you could have done something with it. But because the movie is as short as it is It's like, hey, remember this, hey, remember that, and it's almost never followed up on. There's something at the ending, but that's about it. And at worst, if I were giving out awards for the most tasteless plot point, this would win by a country mile. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this movie. Except maybe Elsie Fisher's character, who does have, or at least try to have a good head on her shoulders, the rest of these characters are about as dumb as a second coat of paint. Like, the whole linchpin of this movie existing is that they bought this town. First of all, I work in a nonprofit. How they bought this town or how long this process took, I refuse to guess, but as someone who works in a non-for-profit and knows how the money goes, things like buying a bank or not a bank, but buying significant chunks of land like that takes a lot of money and a lot of time. And these people look like they could barely afford the non-legally distinct Tesla they were driving. And when they come into this town, they see that one of them has a very ragged-looking Confederate flag, which, I mean, yeah, it's ham-fisted commentary, but they're like, why didn't we read up on this? It's like, you know, for people who say that you're, like, more of the learned generation, an easy Google search could have saved you a lot of headache. But here we are. Like I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I could talk about this movie for days and days. However, I'm just going to end it right now and say this movie is horrid. There are 9 months left in the year, and I have a feeling that there may be a worse movie coming down the pike. But for right now, this is the worst movie that I have seen so far this year. Yeah, it's bad. If you watch this movie, I am so sorry. But what did you think about it? Leave it in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say about that. And if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam. I'll see you in the next one.